The pitch from Acevedo. A drive deep to right field. Down the line. The Mariners win this game 2-1. The dream lives. They're going to the playoffs. 1-1 from Jansen. There you go. Left field. We got a tie ball game. Julio. Oh, baby, what a moment. Tie ball game at 7-7.
Next one, we'll get back to baseball a little bit here. This one comes from CSL Goitz. Oh, I think I got the last name right. Yeah, CSL Goitz. This is also on Instagram. He says, or they say, you guys were pretty close with the Polanco Kepler idea. Does Trader Jerry go for another right fielder? I do appreciate the shout out about the Polanco Kepler thing. I will say, while we appreciate it, I certainly don't think we were the only ones that floated those ideas out there. I think a lot of people had similar thoughts in mind about a package deal, but we appreciate it. That said, I guess there's a chance they could sign some low-level outfielder to a $5 million contract or something like that. But I think that's just about set in terms of the lineup. I think the offense is just about set with who they're going to roll out there.
They're open to adding another outfielder. We saw some discourse from Morosi. He had a couple of notes post-trade on the Polanco trade, and he said the Mariners were inquiring about Max Kepler, and even the price was too high. I'm imagining Miller or Wu was entered into the discussion there, and that's where the conversation ended. But with Jerry asking about Kepler, that means he'd be open to adding another outfielder. The problem is, when you look at it now, if you were to add another outfielder, something needs to happen. So there would be people off the roster, off the current roster. You would either move Rayleigh into first and Ty France would do something else, go somewhere else, trade, move positions. That doesn't sound realistic. Or you would push Dom Canzone off the roster. I don't think Jerry wants to push Dom Canzone off the roster, not with some of the moves and confidence they've given to him this offseason. So in discourse, outfielders seems like an option still, but in reality, looking at the roster, it doesn't. Jorge Soler is still a free agent. Makes no sense, but if you want another one, that I guess could be. I don't know. Like, yeah, it's gonna whatever. Yeah, it's a possibility still. I wouldn't write it off.
You'd just be committing to some of the worst outfield defense in baseball from Jorge Soler if you signed him. That's not why you're signing him, but you'd be committing to that.
Yeah.
Here's the other thing about what Morosi reported, and I got to thinking about this. Are we sure that reporting was accurate in terms of the timeline? Again, like, Morosi may have gotten the note and tweeted it out a day or two ago, but are we sure that Kepler news isn't from weeks ago, like before the Haniger and Rayleigh trades? Because that would makes more sense to me. I would have a hard time believing after they traded for Haniger and Rayleigh that they were still in on Kepler. Something tells me, again, yeah, like the Polanco trade had been in the works for a long time, it sounds like. I would bet you at some point there were calls about what would a package look like. I would bet you after they traded for Haniger and Rayleigh, less likely they were calling about Kepler.
If they were asking about that before and the interest subsided after, then they won't be adding another outfielder. I think that makes sense. That makes more sense roster-wise than them still looking around and poking and trying to find another outfielder. There still are a few out there. Doesn't make as much sense, though. And I don't think Jerry wants to give up on Dom Canzone and Ty France, unfortunately. But they think that's going to be better for the roster this upcoming season. What's up? I don't
think it's unfortunately. I want to see Ty France bounce back. I want to see Dom Canzone thrive. I don't want those guys. Like, I want to see those guys here.
Okay, then I used poor wording on that. So they're going to be on the roster this year. They're going to be at spring training coming up here in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.